Thank you for staying with us. You're watching Newsday. Nigerians living abroad continue to play a vital role in the country's economy, with diaspora remittances hitting an estimated $24 billion in 2024, according to data from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. The figure places Nigeria among the top 5 remittance-receiving countries globally and the highest in sub-Saharan Africa. Beyond remittances, the diaspora also contributes through investments in real estate, fintech, agribusiness, and more, recently startup funding. Major Nigerian startups have attracted early backing from diaspora-led networks. The National Diaspora Commission, chaired by Ibitoye, has called for deeper engagement, noting that diaspora citizens are not just senders of money, but also knowledge, innovation, and global influence. However, challenges persist. Multiple exchange rates, regulatory red tape, and lack of formal investment channels discourage fuller diaspora involvement. Some stakeholders have called for a national diaspora bond and more inclusive policies to harness their full potential. Now, for more insights on how Nigerians in the diaspora can contribute more and benefit directly from the Nigerian economy, an economist and city councillor, Fort Saskatchewan, Albert, Canada, Ajibola Ibitoye, joins us now on Newsday. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Let's start by getting your take on, of course, we see these figures, which are this over 20 billion naira that was said to, dollars rather, that was said to have been contributed through remittances from the diaspora to the Nigerian economy. What's your thought on that? How are we doing?
Yes, so Nigerian diaspora is, I call them, it's an invisible, formidable force. It's a group of people that send $20 billion to the economy annually. Now that's huge, but guess what? All those funds are just being sent for consumption. But the question is there a way we can actually send money into the country and that's strategic, that could help transform industries, that could help build and equip our youth, that could help change infrastructure? You know, so, and that's the question, that's the conversation we've been having. Like, are there opportunities for the diaspora to invest in the country? And the diaspora is ready. We are ready to give back because I think it's very important for us to figure out strategic ways to be actually impactful, you know, in our country. So there are thoughts that are being had, conversations that are being had right now. You mentioned the NIDCOM, which is very true. We need to start looking at various industries and figuring out how we can be impactful in a strategic way rather than just sending remittances to the country for consumption.
Now, how do you think, especially for someone who is sitting in that position, how do you think we can boost these contributions? You know, the leader or the head of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Ibitoye, has mentioned the fact that it's not just about money.
Yeah.
We need to talk about intelligence, knowledge, and all of that contributing to development in the country. How do you think we can leverage on that?
Yes, so again, like I said, the diaspora is ready. We want to give back. The question is how. We need a structured way. And one of it is actually policies, transparent policies. You know, we can come and say, oh, we would like to do this program or that program and empower the youths. But the question is, how do we sustain it? We can only sustain things when they actually passed into bills, right? So I think transparent policies, I think also every state having a diaspora-led committee, right? And figuring out ways that the diaspora can actually give back to various industries. So for example, I think that NIDCOM has done well in that they recently launched a real estate program. It's called the Home and Abroad, where people from the diaspora can actually invest in real estate in the country. That's really valuable because many people want to invest, but they're afraid. They don't want their monies to get lost, right? But it's a way and it's a structure that they can give back with confidence, you know. So that's one way. It's in policies. It's in setting up structures that people are not afraid and can confidently invest in our country. It's also in programs, you know, and in skill transfer and knowledge sharing and in our ethics. Like I say this a lot about ethics because I was in a vehicle. I was picked up by a driver. And we all ate corn. We bought corn and we all ate this corn.
Oh, you eat corn?
Absolutely.
Oh.
I'm like, I need
roasted
to. Roasted. I'm like, that one on the roadside, that's the one I want. And so the gentleman that was driving, he ate this corn and wound down and just threw it on the road. I was in shock. I couldn't believe my eyes. And it was okay. He just laughed, that we all do it. I'm like, no, that's wrong. But it comes back to ethics. As a child, I remember on TV, learning how to cross the road. Like, you look left, right, and left. I will never forget that because I learned that from watching TV. But we don't see those things anymore. How can we bring back those ethics, those moral values to our youth? Because this generation is lost. Sorry.
But we don't need the diasporans to bring back those culture.
No, we don't. But starting the conversation, right? Having conversation with the Ministry of Information, for example. How do we orient people? Because I think there should be a national orientation for these values that we used to have. How do we bring it back? But I think the youth is where we should be targeting. And you're right, we don't need diaspora. But can we start having that conversation?
Because this should be foundational culture imbibed in every Nigerian.
Absolutely. That's foundational. But it's not happening. So how do we start to have this conversation, right? So again, it's investment, not just money. Like you said, it's not about just the money, but how do we bring those skills? So right now, I'm working with 3 other Nigerian counselors, Canadian as well, and figuring out how do we empower youths. And so we're coming up with this program called Junior NYSC, where kids who graduate from GSS 3 and out on the streets, and how can we empower them to learn skills and trades that could help with national development? Because guess what? If we don't invest in those kids today, those guys are going to be criminals tomorrow. So what's the opportunity cost here? So we need to step up and start to figure out ways that we as diasporas that are willing to give back. How can we work with the government to figure out how to move our nation forward? Because at the end of the day, there's no place like home. And we want to give back.
So in the end, is this looking like, because you've talked about the fact that many of our Nigerians who go abroad need to come back to invest in the country, but how do we deal with the issue of brain drain, especially when going outside the country, and then we do not have all of these skills coming back into the country? And
so I like that you've raised that. So we're saying that we need to have a brain gain.
Brain gain. Right.
Let's leave. Like, I know lots of people have jackpot. I know, like, as a matter of fact, I used to work in GT Bank before I moved here, and I went to my office. There was only 2 people that were left. Everybody had jackpot. I couldn't believe my eyes. So the thing is, how do we bring back? And I think is in the skill transfer, is in the knowledge sharing, is in people in providing programs, platforms for exchange. So, but guess what? If those platforms are not available, there is no way that these people can. And I've spoken to many people. They want to come back. Like, even like for me, for example, I have 3 kids of my own, and a lot of kids that are born abroad, there's an identity crisis. Because I was born and raised in Nigeria. I didn't move out until I was in my 20s. I knew what it was, right? But these kids are struggling with their identity, so...
All right, I'm afraid
I feel like I'm digressing, but that's okay.
but we have to just end the conversation here. I know there's still so much to talk about, but we'd like to appreciate you for your time.
Absolutely.
Ajibola Ibitoye, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.